record. That. I know it's not a very good division. The Dolphins are on a downward slide. The Bills are elite. Jets are on a rebuild. So yeah, I think it's a little bit too much for me. I see 6 or 7. I don't see 9 or 10.
Fox Sports Saturday with Hartman and Husky. Right now, we are on the great Adam Kaplan, NFL insider. Alan, I'm going to stick with quarterbacks. 2 young guys that were rookies last year. One got in late in the year. The other one had to work through an injury. And I just want to see what your thoughts are about Michael Penix Jr. and J.J. McCarthy. What do you expect from these 2 young quarterbacks? And can they take the type of stamp on their career and put people on notice the way Bo Nix and the way Jaden Daniels did last year?
Yeah, and with McCarthy, it's because this is essentially his rookie season. He got hurt against the Raiders last year, where he played very well in that opening preseason game. But all he could do is to take mental reps. So he's had an up and down camp. I'm glad that he played against the Texans today. That was a good thing, just to get over that mental hurdle of he got hurt last year in that first game. He's got a ways to go. Now, what's unfortunate is.
1-1. He might have hit one out of the ballpark there. Out to right and deep. Second deck. He squared the bunt 2 pitches ago. And Kyle Stowers rips number 16 into the seats. Tied at 1, bottom 2.
Miami Marlins baseball is on deck.
Pitch to Connor Norby. He drills out to right center and deep. Frelick back. Track wall. It is gone. Connor Norby. He's getting right. 1-1 pitch. That one hammered out to left center field and deep. Martian Rojas back. They're looking up, and it's gone. Wag attack. A 2-run homer.
Marlins on deck. Brought to you by ADT, the official smart security partner of the Miami Marlins and Norwegian Cruise Line. Experience more at sea. Let's head out to the ballpark. Here's your host, Steven Strong.
Nice job. ×2, Ahmed. Nice to talk to you again here. Welcome. We are live from Truist Park, high above the field and inside the broadcast booth. And it is still about 78 degrees as we gear up for some Saturday night baseball in the ATL. You're listening to Miami Marlins baseball on the radio, Fox Sports 940 Miami, game 117 of 162. The Marlins fell in game 1 this afternoon to the Braves 7-1, but they did get a quality start from one of their newly acquired players over the deadline, Ryan Gusto. 6 innings of 3-run ball. We will hear from him in a couple of minutes. Now the Marlins will look to split this doubleheader with Sandy Alcantara on the bump. We are ready to give you game 4 and game 2 of this doubleheader and this 5-game set here between the 49 and 67 Atlanta Braves and your now 57 and 59 Miami Marlins. Sandy, he'll make his 23rd start of the season and second against the Braves this year. Eric Fetty, 32-year-old right-hander who was traded over from St. Louis, will toe the rubber for the 22nd time in his season and the 3rd time in a Braves uniform. We will get going for Game 2 at 7:15 right here on the Marlins Radio Network. Hi, everyone. Thanks again for joining us here on this Saturday night. Jack McMullen, Gabby Sanchez, Steven Strom. Hello, everyone. Talking to you again here. It is great to have you aboard here on the Marlins Radio Network. We got a cool show for you ahead. We are also going the distance, and we thank you for your participation. We'll first hear from Ryan Gusto on his start today. Ben Ingram of the Braves Radio Network will join the program to preview Game 2 of this doubleheader. We'll get you at the count with Fetty and Sandy, 2 former Cardinals pitchers. Jack will jump in for some storylines, our Expo question today at Marlins Radio, and Steve's guarantee to victory. Well, we got our first look at Ryan Gusto in a Marlins uniform. He was the 27th man on the roster during this doubleheader. He did make his Marlins debut today. It was a quality start, 6 innings, 3 runs. He wiggled out of a couple of jams, and here was Gusto after his start today.
I was really happy with it. I think that I competed well, gave the team a chance to win, so I'm happy about it.
What was the game plan going up against this Braves lineup?
Execute pitches were important, use a lot of spin and just try to mix pitches all around the zone, keep them off balance for sure.
Did you work with Liam Hicks? First time, obviously, working with a new catcher.
Yeah, no, I thought that went really well. We had a lot of conversations before the game, about how I usually pitch, about my stuff, about, how he likes to go about calling a game. And I think that we were on the same page for, majority of the game, so I'm really happy about that relationship.
What was your emotions like making your Marlins debut?
I was really happy just to be out there and doing it for the Marlins. I think that it was really good to get my feet wet with the team and like I said, give us a chance to win.
Clayton had mentioned he was impressed the way you were able to wiggle out of some of those innings. What was key in getting out of those?
Really just trying to control, my emotions, my breathing, focus on making the quality pitches when you do have guys on, and just trying to minimize there.
Did the stuff play the same in Houston? Do you feel any different? I mean, I know it's been, again, a short time, but working with this staff, what did you feel today?
Yeah, I do think that I made some good improvements on a couple of my pitches. The staff, like they told me they really wanted me. That's why they traded for me. So they had some ideas already about my pitches and what I could do to be better right out of the gate. And I think that we saw a little bit of that today. I think that, the adjustment on the sweeper was a little bit better. I think cutter usage was higher and it performed very well. And I think the changeup was really good and encouraging for the first day with really a new kind of attack plan on that pitch. So I'm really happy with the coaching staff and how they've, helped me and, continue to work on those things.
All right, that was Ryan Gusto today. After going 6 innings, gave up 4 hits, 3 runs, 2 walks, and 8 punch-outs. A couple of things stood out, I thought, about Gusto. First of all, the fastball definitely played at a pretty good level. Got a ton of swing and miss on that 4-seam fastball. And excuse me, the other thing I really liked about today, you always look at some of the mental makeup of these guys. And Gusto at 26 years old, what I like to figure out is how do you respond when you start getting traffic on the bases? And I thought that he answered a couple of questions. He was able to wiggle out of a couple different situations. And the most important thing, give his team a chance to win. You would take that start. You would take that start tonight from Sandy Alcantara, 6 innings, of 3 runs. Offense couldn't get going. I thought that Hurston Waldrop was sensational for the Atlanta Braves, but all in all, to kind of tie a bow on Ryan Gusto, thought he was good. Thought he was really good. Again, a quality start, gave you enough to win, and we'll see what Clayton McCullough and company want to do with him. He is the 27th man on this roster here for this doubleheader, so most likely going to go back to AAA. We'll see what his role looks like. We'll see when rosters do expand in September if he is one of the individuals that will get the nod to come up with the big league club. We will break here. Ben Ingram, one of the voices on the radio network for the Atlanta Braves, will come and join us and talk about Game 2 of this doubleheader. He'll get some reaction as well, his observations of what Gusto was able to do for the Marlins, plus Drake Baldwin's season. The guy is absolutely having an incredible year, 5 for 12 in this series with 7 RBIs. How can the Marlins stop him? We'll figure it out next together on the Marlins Radio Network.
You needed some more production, and then you turned it into guys who are going to be now producing when you need them to.
1-0 pitch. Augustine lines into right field. That's in on a hop for a base hit. X rounding third. He's coming home. White's throw going to the plate. A little bit offline and just a touch late. And X comes in to score, standing up from second. With 2 men gone, it's an RBI single for Augustine Ramirez. And the Marlins on the board again. It's 6-2 in the top of the 4th. Opposite of Texas's concern with him. They thought that he was going to be in an insane amount of pain.
Yeah.
Pitch to X. That one stung past the dive of the second baseman. Albies into right center for a base hit. Myers will score from second base, no problem. And Xavier Edwards got to 300 last AB. This time he pushes to 301. Afternoon, getaway day at 1:35. Jen Powell calls balls and strikes. 3-1. That one sprayed into left field, down the line. Long run for Profar. He's still moving. That drops in. It's a fair ball. Hernandez was drifting towards third. Now he gets the run around home, and the throw coming home is late. That was a line hunter. Profar is explaining to the third base umpire, Chris Guccione, that he thought it bounced to the right of the chalk, or the left of the chalk, I should say. Yesterday has hit the skids a bit for his last few games. And the 1-2, that one cracked into right center. That is in for a base hit. That's going to keep on rolling for a while. Marcy around third. He comes in to score, and that's Major League RBI number 2 on hit number 3 from Troy Johnston. Stretching Cappy maybe 10 pitches further than you would if you were on 4. 0-1. Hernandez lifts that one high in the air, out to left and deep. Profar is back at the track. It is gone into the Marlins bullpen.
Previous purchases. Offer only valid on qualifying purchases at the participating Cuba Vera stores at Dolphin Mall, Sawgrass Mills, or online at cubavera.com. This offer is valid until September 1st, 2025. Other exclusions may apply.
Welcome back here to Marlins on Deck as we get you ready for Game 2 at 7:15. Steven Strom, Ben Ingram, always this is what we do. Every single time we go to Atlanta, you're in Miami, we have you on. We appreciate the time. Curious, what do you think of Ryan Gusto? His Marlins debut today got him from Houston in exchange for Jesus Sanchez.
I liked him a lot. I think normally when you start with a pitcher, you're talking about his stuff. But as far as game one of that doubleheader, I mean, he was in a jam. Bases loaded, gave up just that one run that inning. Could have been pretty easy to just collapse right there. Didn't do it. Thought his curveball looked good. Really deep arsenal of pitches. And I think that threw some of our guys off, seeing how he's able to command 4 or 5 good pitches. So a lot to like with him. And between him and Cabrera last night, it's the first time we've seen Gusto. We've seen Cabrera before, but I mean, that's the best we've ever seen him. So the Marlins are a lot more than just Sandy Alcantara.
Quality start for Gusto, and tonight we'll see Sandy Alcantara go opposite Eric Fetty. Guys traded. I know he got DFA'd, but then you traded for him from cash considerations. 2 starts. What can you tell us about Eric Fetty, at least in an Atlanta uniform?
Well, he hadn't won in a long time. I think May 9th was the last time that he won a game. And when you grab him, you're hoping to get somebody who can give you some innings. And that was the issue for the Braves. I mean, looking at your starting rotation to begin the season, all of those guys are on the 60-day. So you're needing guys who can come in and give you some innings. And you're going to see some guys come up from the minor leagues that are going to get an opportunity, similar to Hurst and Waldrop in Game 1 today. But you need some veterans who you know can give you 4 or 5 innings at least consistently. And he's hopefully that for this team. And a guy that's been roughed up pretty good a bit here lately, you're just hoping you can get 5, 6 innings out of him and not give up a bunch of runs in a short amount of time. So that's the hope for him, and you just hope that you can keep up with whomever you're facing that night with run-wise, because you're never going to give up some runs and likely some home runs with Fetty on the mound.
I know it's been a frustrating year, but a bright spot has been Drake Baldwin, 5 for 12 in this series, 7 RBIs. What should we know about Drake Baldwin, maybe that we don't know already as just broadcasters?
He's just so advanced for a rookie, and you could say that with what he's done at the plate. He's got really good numbers offensively, but what I really gain a lot of information with when it comes to him is chatting with our coaches and our manager. Our manager was an old school catcher back in the day. Eddie Perez is on the staff. He was a catcher. And it's fun to talk to these guys about what they notice with him. And they say, this guy is so advanced for his age. The way that he handles a pitching staff, he says he's extremely vocal. And this goes back to spring training, very vocal in pitcher meetings. You don't typically get that from a rookie. Usually rookie catchers are there to just sit there, observe, and not say much. And he's a guy that wants to be a leader. It's just in him. I'm sure there are some aspects of leadership that are obtained and learned, but I think a good chunk of that you have to have in you already. And Drake is that. Drake's very much a leader, and he very much wants to be a part of the leadership for this team. And as a catcher, you have to be that, no matter how old or inexperienced that you are. And he's certainly done that. And I know he passed the test in spring training because they had him catch a Chris Sale start. And once Chris said, here's my stamp of approval, that was good for everybody, and he's taken off from there.
Ben Ingram with us now. We all look at the record, 17, 16 under, whatever it is. Do the Braves view this as a hiccup because of the injuries? How do they view this going in, you think, into the offseason? Is it more of a recharge for 26?
I think partially a hiccup because of the injuries, but I can't use that as an excuse. This is a team that while they've lost all their rotation, those guys are all healthy for an 0-7 start. So even when they had them, they didn't start off all that hot. I think that the biggest issue for this team has been their inability to show any consistency at the plate. And you've got a lineup full of guys who are capable, but they haven't done it consistently. You've seen some bright spots since the All-Star break with Michael Harris. You mentioned Drake Baldwin a second ago. He's been pretty good all year, but it's been a down year for Ozzie Albies. It's been a down year for, obviously, he didn't have Jerickson Profar for 80 games. Down year offensively for Sean Murphy. Ronald Acuna's had a hard time staying on the field. Matt Olson has had 1 home run in his last, 27 games. So you've seen guys who statistically aren't giving you what you expect. I hope that that's a hiccup, and I think they'd like to address some needs in the offseason, shortstop, etc. It's a season where Austin Riley's had some injuries that have kept him sidelined, but you're hoping that all those guys, with whatever you give them next year, can get back to what you expect from them offensively, because to me that's the bigger story than the injuries on the mound.
Always appreciate the time. We're going to have a battle of 2 ex-Cardinals, Sandy Alcantara and Eric Fetty. We will break here. We'll get you ahead of the count with those 2 on the mound. 7:15 first pitch right here on the Marlins Radio Network.
33% of the way there.
That's Hall of Famer.
Hit 333. 1-0 pitch. That one looped into shallow left field. Profar coming on. He won't get there. That drops in for a base hit. Hicks going to come in and score. Otto pushes to third. And Jacob Marcy drives in his 4th run at the major league level. This guy's 8 for 17 to open his big league career. And an RBI knock gets the Fish on the board. They trail 2-1 at the top of the second. In the lead. 1-2. That one hit in the air, out to right center. That's deep. That's carrying well. Harris is back at the track. He leaps up. He opens the bullpen door, and that's off the wall. It caroms back into center. Wagaman pushes to third, and 2 runs come in to score. A 2-run triple for Wag Attack. Braves of yesteryear.
No.
3-2. That one hit well, out to right and deep, down the line. White on the move. He's looking up, and it's gone. Into the chop house, Graham Pauley. Back-to-back days with a homer. He's got 3 now as a Marlin, and this is a 5-run second. 2-run blast. 5-2 Fish.
You needed some more production, and then you turned it into guys who are going to be now producing when you need them to.
1-0 pitch. Augustine lines into right field. That's in on a hop for a base hit. X rounding third. He's coming home. White's throw going to the plate. A little bit offline and just a touch late. And X comes in to score, standing up from second. With 2 men gone, it's an RBI single for Augustine Ramirez. And the Marlins on the board again. It's 6-2 in the top of the 4th.
Trying to win it all again. Posada, slow roller right side. Beckett picks it up. Tags Posada, and the Florida Marlins are world champions. The Marlins have stunned the Yankees, shocked New York, and this improbable team, improbable ride, they end up on top.
Eric Wagman, and you're listening to Marlins on Deck with Steven Strom on the Marlins Radio Network.
You know tonight's going to be a good night when Wags brings us back. The big bat back in the lineup tonight, folks. Eric Wagaman. Welcome back, sir. Jack, I wish I had the lineup in front of me. Oh, here it is right here. Eric Wagaman, I do want to give you where he will be hitting in the lineup. He'll hit 7 tonight and play first base. Steven Strom, hello, everyone. Marlins on Deck here, Fox Sports 940 Miami. If you hung out with us from the start at 12:30, well, hi. And thank you for hanging out with us for this entirety of the program. We have been very happy to be with you since the beginning, and hopefully you stay here for Game 2. Marlins looking to split this doubleheader between the Atlanta Braves and, of course, your Miami Marlins. Sandy Alcantara will go opposite Eric Fetty. Let's get you ahead to the count. We'll start with Sandy, 29-year-old right-hander who will make his 23rd start of 2025, his second this year against the Braves. He comes into today's contest 6-10, a 6.44 ERA, 116 innings, 86 Ks to 43 walks. He took his 10th loss on Monday against the Houston Astros, allowing 6 runs on 9 hits, 1 walk over 7 innings. This has kind of been the story of Sandy. Scoreless first 3 innings, 5 runs allowed in the 4th. It was the 6th time Sandy has allowed 6 or more runs. And here was what Alcantara had to say after his start.
There is a couple things happening out there, especially in the 4th inning. A couple hard contact, couple soft contact, bunt. And I don't know. It seemed like they just came out ready for all the breaking ball that I was throwing, and there was very aggressive since the first inning. I just got to use my best pitch, and I think the curve has been great since the last 2 starts, and today I just get out there and try to use it more, and they just came out ready for it.
All right, that was Sandy Alcantara following his start against the Houston Astros. Well, the last 5 starts for Sandy has not gone well against the Braves this season. 1-3, a 6 ERA. Again, over his last 5 starts, he will go opposite Eric Fetty, 32-year-old right-hander who was traded to Atlanta on July 27th. He was actually DFA'd from St. Louis on the 23rd. Atlanta ends up making a move for Fetty because all 5 pitchers this season for Atlanta have spent some time on the 60-day IL. Him and Cookie Carrasco, both guys that were traded to the Atlanta Braves just for some arms. They needed to get some length. Fetty is 3-10 with a 5.22 ERA, 0-2 this year with the Braves, 6 ERA in 10 innings pitched. He took his 12th loss of the season on Monday against Milwaukee, allowed 3 runs on 3 hits, 5 1/3. Some of the things you should know about Fetty: he throws a sinker, a cutter, a sweeper, and a changeup. 302 opponent average against that cutter. And for Fetty, opponents are hitting 266 overall against him. Weird thing about him, he was striking out guys at a pretty decent level. Last year was at 20%, at 13% this year. He's made 11 starts against Miami. He has good numbers, 4-2, a 2.64 ERA in 58 innings pitched this season. So Sandy Alcantara will go opposite Eric Fetty here at 7:15. We will break. We'll get Jack McMullen on next. We'll talk some storylines and how the Marlins can secure a split and get right back into this series on the Marlins Radio Network.
Visit Mikasuki.
Good questions. But it's not as easy as the guy that worked for the New York Post.
First pitch to Troy Johnston, ripped into the right field corner. That is a fair ball. It short hops off the wall in the corner. They're going to hold Pauly at third, but Hernandez comes in to score from second. His first plate appearance in Miami. He's good based on the skill set. Kyle Stowers was bad for a month this year after he was amazing for 2 months and amazing for 2 more. Stowers hits one high in the air down the left field line, playable for Dominguez in foul ground. He makes the catch, but Johnston will tag and score from third base. It was in fair territory. If it was in foul ground, Dominguez might have let it drop, but he did make the catch. It plates another
75 and 49 or something.
49 something crazy.
There's a shot deep right field. Going back is Bellinger. He looks up and it is gone. Kyle Stowers has done it again. This time a 3-run shot off the lefty. 6-1 Miami. Marcy looking for his first major league RBI. Rips one deep to center. Grisham going back, turns back, looking out, backhander, off the glove. It hits the wall. Marcy rounding second. He will get his first major league RBI and his first major league triple. 7-3 Miami, the rookie does it again.
Yeah, that's really cool. Obviously, just getting recognized for anything that you do in this game is always really special. I don't take it for granted. Honestly, just kind of more stoked about how we've been playing in all sincerity, and just hope we can keep that going. It feels good to just play winning baseball. What we've done the last couple months, I think, is just kind of take things one day at a time, kind of flush the previous day regardless of whether it was good or bad. And, what great teams do is they prepare.
4-500-LOCK. That's 954-500-LOCK or visit LoctiteImpact.com.
Listen to your Marlins on the go. Download the iHeartRadio app and make Fox Sports 940 your top preset to listen to every Marlins game this season. Steven Strom, Jack McMullen, and Gabby Sanchez getting you ready here for Game 2. Tough one, yes. Earlier today with the Marlins, they dropped Game 1 7-1. But Jack, I thought there was some good from yesterday, right? You got the first taste of what Ryan Gusto is going to give the Marlins, maybe not next week, but for the foreseeable future. I just want to get some takeaways from you on Gusto.
I love that you gave me another yesterday there. It's great. Like it happened.
Did I?
Yeah,
oh my God.
It happened 4 hours ago, but it totally feels like yesterday.
Doesn't it?
It's just, you know what? You rinse, repeat, you wipe the hard drive clean, and you're good to go again, like mentally for Game 2. So
sure.
It kind of sort of feels like another day here. But no, I thought Gusto was really good. That's my overarching takeaway from Game 1. Ryan Gusto, quality start, and this guy, he showcased the stuff that makes it make sense that they pursued him in the Jesus Sanchez deal. And it made a lot of sense at time of trade. But here it's like, okay, you see this guy got up to 97 with his heater. He was 95 to 96, and then occasionally flashing a 97, and he was getting swings and misses underneath it at the top of the strike zone. And the breaking balls look solid. Like there's clearly a very high quality Play-Doh to work with here. And as you tinker with the secondaries, you could have a very good major league starting pitcher here in Ryan Gusto. So that's exciting. For me, like looking at some of the other silver linings, they didn't go away, quietly. It seemed at the end, like they were still working longer ABs and all that. But to be honest, man, like I hope these guys just kind of like took a moment, much like us, wipe the hard drive clean, and then they're back, and it's a fresh baseball game today.
Well, I'm hoping Sandy Alcantara did the same thing, Jack. I want to get some sound from his last start.
Yeah.
He went 7 innings. He gave up 6 runs, but again, 5 of those runs were allowed in that 4th inning. Here's what Sandy had to say after his start last week against the Houston Astros.
There is a couple things happening out there, especially in the 4th inning. Couple hard contact, couple soft contact, bunt. And I don't know. It seemed like they just came out ready for all the breaking ball that I was throwing, So, and there was very aggressive since the first inning. I just gotta use my best pitch, and I think the curve has been great since the last 2 starts, And today I just get out there and try to use it more, and it just came out ready for it.
What's the path to success today, you think, Jack, for Sandy against this Atlanta Braves lineup that I pretty much assume that they're going to take a similar approach to what we saw in Houston, try to attack early?
Yeah, and attack a pitch that it seems to be quickly falling in love with, right? Like the curveball was really good, and he pointed that out. Like the curveball was very good over his last 2 starts, at home against San Diego and then in St. Louis. So, what does he do against Houston? He snaps a bunch of curveballs off again. So I bet Atlanta is prepped for the curveball personally. And for me, like Sandy's different approach could possibly be fewer breaking balls. Like we saw the curveball usage get up. We've seen him throw more curveballs over his last 2 starts than really any 2-start stretch in his major league career. So if I were a betting man, I would say that Sandy Alcantara is throwing more sinker changeup today than he has over his last handful of starts. Obviously still work the curveball in because that's proven to be a very good pitch for him, but it seems like he felt like Houston was ready for it and sitting on it. And you want the element of surprise to be there with that curveball.
Looking at Eric Fetty, who will go opposite Sandy Alcantara. Look, there's no question about he has struggled as well. He was DFA'd by the St. Louis Cardinals, and then the Atlanta Braves ended up trading for Fetty on July 27th. Atlanta needs arms. All 5 of their pitchers have spent time on the 60-day IL this season. But one thing that stuck out to me about Fetty, Jack, this is a guy that was K'ing at 20% last year. It's down to 13%. Why do you think there's been a dip for him as far as the punch outs have been concerned for Eric Fetty?
Stuff not that sharp.
Just not as sharp at 32
honest,
years old. Yeah, it's crazy.
It's not as sharp, and the execution is not great. Like if you watch Fetty last year in an all-star caliber season, this guy was mixing and matching and painting the corners. That's just not the case right now. He's leaving things over the heart of the plate, and there's 16 homers to his name already this season. It's near the top of Major League Baseball at this point. So for me, like I'm just watching Fetty get hit really hard because it's subdued stuff over the heart of the plate. And the recipe for success for him is something that he hasn't really done this year. And that's better stuff, number one, which is harder to come by. And then execution along the perimeter of the strike zone, which is really hard to come by when you find yourself just over the heart of the plate constantly like Fetty is. So this is, I feel like personally, your opportunity to pounce if you're the Miami Marlins tonight.
That's Jack McBone. I'm Steven Strom. About 19 minutes away from first pitch, game 2 of this split doubleheader. Marlins dropped game 1 earlier today, 7-1. Got our first look at Ryan Gusto in a Marlins uniform. Okay, trying to get back to today. We got the good start from Gusto, went to George Soriano.
Yeah.
Didn't have to use high leverage bullpen arms. I think this is a game where Clayton McCullough is going to be aggressive. Maybe with Sandy Alcantara, if you get a lead early, you go to your arms. Offensively, do you kind of chalk up what Waldrop was able to do, or was there something different that you saw in the offense? Was this more about what Hurston Waldrop did to the Marlins offense more than just the approach?
There's such different pitchers, Waldrop and Fetty, to be honest with you. So, like, for me, offensively, I'm not changing much because you were gearing up for 97 with one of the best splitters in the game, and he's only 4 or 5 appearances into his major league career. And now you're not gearing up for 97 and one of the best splitters in the game. So I do feel like that offensive performance is actually pretty easy to shed from today, just because, like, it's not that you're stepping down in weight class, but stuff-wise you are. In terms of production and in terms of credentials, like, it's a step up in weight class against a guy who's on the other side of 30 compared to a guy that's made 4 major league appearances at this point. But in terms of stuff, like, you are going from a heavyweight to a middleweight or a heavyweight to a, I don't know, like featherweight, I guess. But
yeah, I'm not sure about the.
I'm not
that's
sure
a Gabby question. He knows
about
about that tail of the tape stuff.
Yeah, it is all about tail of the tape. But yeah, man, I think it's a pretty easy thing to just put away, and you have all of your leverage arms ready to go here. So I'd assume you'll see some assortment of Enriquez, Bacher, Fauché, if the Marlins find themselves with a lead in the back third.
You know the Strom stuff scale that I measure on when Xavier Edwards punches out to start the game.
You've got good stuff.
I'm like, oh, this could be a long night.
Yeah.
So we will see here if the Marlins can respond. They've done it all season long against Eric Fetty, who has struggled this season. Sandy Alcantara looking to bounce back. It's tough. Again, he gets to ties a season high for innings, but he gives up the 6 runs. We shall see what is in store for Sandy and Eric Fetty here tonight. We will break. We'll get our Expo question today, Steve's guarantee. Then we'll play some baseball. Jack McMullen and Gabby Sanchez have your call at 7:15. Marlins on Deck continues on the Marlins Radio Network.
33% of the way there.
That's Hall of Famer.
Hit 333. 1-0 pitch. That one looped into shallow left field. Profar coming on. He won't get there. That drops in for a base hit. Hicks going to come in and score. Otto pushes to third. And Jacob Marcy drives in his 4th run at the major league level. This guy's 8 for 17 to open his big league career. And an RBI knock gets the Fish on the board. They trail 2-1 at the top of the second. In the lead. 1-2. That one hit in the air, out to right center. That's deep. That's carrying well. Harris is back at the track. He leaps up. He opens the bullpen door, and that's off the wall. It caroms back into center. Wagaman pushes to third, and 2 runs come in to score. A 2-run triple for Wag Attack. Braves of yesteryear.
No.
3-2. That one hit well, out to right and deep, down the line. White on the move. He's looking up, and it's gone. Into the chop house, Graham Pauley. Back-to-back days with a homer. He's got 3 now as a Marlin, and this is a 5-run second. 2-run blast. 5-2 Fish.
You needed some more production, and then you turned it into guys who are going to be now producing when you need them to.
1-0 pitch. Augustine lines into right field. That's in on a hop for a base hit. X rounding third. He's coming home. White's throw going to the plate. A little bit offline and just a touch late. And X comes in to score, standing up from second. With 2 men gone, it's an RBI single for Augustine Ramirez. And the Marlins on the board again. It's 6-2 in the top of the 4th.
Trying to win it all again. Posada, slow roller right side. Beckett picks it up, tags Posada, and the Florida Marlins are world champions. The Marlins have stunned the Yankees, shocked New York.
Apply.
Number 1 on your car radio preset and the new and improved iHeartRadio app. WINCA in Miami, WMIB-FM HD2 Fort Lauderdale. Free never sounded so good.
All right, rocking and rolling here on the Marlins Radio Network, about 15 minutes away from first pitch. Steven Strom here. Hello, everyone. Marlins dropped game 1 earlier today, 7-1 to the Atlanta Braves. It is game 4 of a 5-game set. It's been what feels like 2 years in Atlanta. We started on Thursday night. Marlins dropped game 1, and Miami came back on Friday night and delivered a much-needed bounce-back win and a big, big start from Edward Cabrera. And then earlier today, we saw Ryan Gusto make his Marlins debut in a quality start, but Miami's bullpen couldn't hold it down. George Soriano blowing up late in that game, and the Marlins fall 7-1. Sandy Alcantara looking to split here on this Saturday night from Truist Park. He will go opposite Eric Fetty. Let's get to our Expo question today at Marlins Radio. So Jen Powell is going to, or she already made her Major League umpiring debut today, but she's going to be behind the dish tomorrow, first ever female to do so. Our Expo question today, how many years did Jen Powell spend in the minor leagues before getting her shot here in the show? Make sure to vote at Marlins Radio. It is time for Steve's Guarantee.
Batter up. Batter up. Let's play some ball. First pitch is moments away. Time now for Steve's Guarantees.
So we saw a really tough pitcher earlier today, Hurston Waltrip, 23-year-old right-hander who had a nasty split finger and really silenced the bats of the Miami Marlins. Eric Fetty has struggled this season. We had mentioned it, 3-10 with a 5 ERA with St. Louis. He's 0-2 with a 6 ERA and 2 starts with Atlanta. The stuff, it just hasn't been the same for him. The cutter's getting hit at 302 at opposing averages. And also, Eric Fetty, he's not punching out guys. 20% punch-out rate last year, down to 13 this year, and he struggled against left-handed batters. Lefties are hitting 287 with an 875 OPS. Kyle Stowers, he is, I don't want to say the straw that stirs the drink, because I would say that's more Xavier Edwards, but when it comes to the crooked inning numbers, when it comes to the power of the offense, you look for Kyle Stowers from the left side and Augustine Ramirez from the right. I like Stowers to collect an extra base hit against Eric Fetty here tonight. Folks, I hope you got the itch for first pitch, because when we come back, Jack McMullen paints a picture. Gabby Sanchez, he's ready to rock. Starting lineups in first pitch is right around the corner. Thanks for tuning in to the Marlins On Deck pregame show. I'm Steven Strom. Let's flip the M together, Miami. Marlins baseball. It is next on the Marlins Radio Network.
Miami Marlins.